Hey, Teching here with another low quality webcam based video, which it's probably going to say it's in HD because that's how I render, but they're just like empty pixels, so you could try to turn it up to 720p, but it's probably not going to be much better, especially since the lighting in here is shit. I asked for a better webcam for Christmas, so if Santa is kind, he'll bring me a good old 1080p webcam, so now we can have HD up here as well as down there, because my new camera, my Canon, absolutely love it. Go watch my Christmas special I shot, which is probably my best shot, little short film, kind of, not really a short film, I just had fun filming that video. It was funny, it was only like 13 minutes of material for took me like 2 hours to film that, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. But anyway, yeah, that Canon camera, it's great, except it runs on AA batteries, and of course I can just get the rechargeables, but it's not a big issue because I can recharge one set of batteries while I'm using the other, and then I can just switch around. But the problem is it only works for maybe about 25 minutes, and then that thing zaps the freaking energy. That HD, it's not really cost effective. So yeah, I was trying on YouTube, because, you know, the first place you go whenever you have any problem whatsoever is YouTube, to see if somebody has a tutorial about it, and maybe learn from a 10-year-old kid on how to, I don't know, install a new software or something. You've done it. Don't say you haven't. So I go on YouTube. I'm like, well, first I actually go on Amazon, because at first I thought that was something that's very easy to do. And you might be looking at me right now like, no, Teching, it's stupid. But I'm just thinking, like, okay, there has to be, it's the year 2013. There has to be some kind of adapter that takes AA and converts it into AC. I'm not talking like a whole contraption. I'm thinking like, I don't know, two battery-shaped, diodes or something that are like wrapped around that you can fit in a camera. And then the cord, then there's like attached to a cord, and that cord can plug into the wall. I just assumed that would be something that would exist, you know? But no, it doesn't exist. I couldn't find one. So instead I went to YouTube, and there, of course, I'll get a guy, and he's just like, actually, converting your energy to this is very simple. All you need to do is buy this special thing and do a couple of like rewiring. I'm like, no, that's not simple, dude. Sorry, I am not an engineer. I'm not even really good with computers, you know? I'm good with computers whenever my mom or like my grandma asks me for advice, because of course they know nothing about computers. You know, my mom came in my room yesterday and she's like, how do I see when this picture was taken on my phone? I don't know, there's no option for that. And I'm like, go under properties. And she's like, oh, thank you, you're so smart, and then she leaves. So that's how good I am with computers and electronics, when, you know, I know bare basics, okay? Can I build my own computer? Fuck no. Can I take this thing apart? I could, but I wouldn't know a single thing what I'm looking at, you know? I just had a problem with my laptop, which is probably dead. Every time I connect to the internet, my screen glitches out and I get the blue screen of death. So I had that taken away by my computer guy, and he's going to go look at that, but it's probably dead. But yeah, that's just me bitching and complaining about shit in my life. But hey, I got my new phone back. I got my Droid back, so we have that. Alright, so moving on to the actual topic of this video that I was going to do, you know, okay, so, basically, what I was going to do, I was going to segue from talking about Santa bringing me a new webcam, and I was going to segue into talking about stories involving Santa Claus, because it's Christmas Eve. Oh, a magical time where all the children of the world that are Christian sit around. I don't know, is Santa Claus a purely Christian creation? I would assume he would be. I mean, because he's based off of St. Nicholas, but at this point, the mythos has grown so large, it kind of outshines the original, the original person. Like, people, like, do you know who St. Nicholas is? I mean, if you ask any Christian in America, I'm sure they might have a good idea. Oh, that's the person Santa Claus is based off of. But I'm thinking, if you ask other people in the world, they might not know about that. But, and then there's also, like, if you look at other cultures, like, oh, Santa's black, Santa's Asian. So Santa is just this amazing guy. He can just, he can adhere to all cultures. It doesn't necessarily have to be American, or it doesn't necessarily have to be Christian. But, so here's some Santa stories I have to tell you as I was growing up. So, I was in a very interesting predicament, because my family celebrates Orthodox Christmas, Ukrainian Orthodox, or Russian Orthodox, I suppose. So we don't celebrate Christmas on December 25th. No, that does not mean I'm Jewish. No, that does not mean I don't celebrate Christmas at all. No, that does not mean we have some really weird traditions that completely are on the contrast to the way you celebrate Christmas on December 25th, if you celebrate it at that point. You know, those are always the questions I got when I was a kid. Hey, Matt, what'd you get for Christmas? Oh, I don't celebrate it yet. Oh, you Jewish? First thing, always Jewish. I'm like, you know, there's like... You do realize there are literally dozens, literally hundreds of religions, you know? I mean, most of those are probably obscure and you never heard of. There's at least 12 major ones, you know? You have Christianity, you have Judaism, you have Islam, you have Jainism, you have, you know, well, Buddhism and Shintoism, but they're not really about, you know, the whole material gift thing, but hey, they're around. You got Hinduism, you know, you got Sikhs, you know, you got a bunch of religions out there, okay? So, default is always Judaism, I don't know. But anyway, so basically the way we celebrate it is, I'm sure there's some other time-tested traditions. I actually had a professor in college who was my history professor who actually was also, he was a Russian Orthodox priest, so, you know, he knew more about the traditional stuff than we did, but basically we celebrate it the same exact way you do, except it's on January 7th, and we sing Ukrainian and Russian Christmas carols as opposed to, you know, like Good King Wenceslas we have. I'm not even going to try to attempt them because I haven't heard them in over a year, and they're really hard to pronounce. But we have Ukrainian Christmas carols. They're actually, some of them are actually pretty catchy. You know, so there's that. Let's see. We have halupki and pierogies and halushki. You know, we eat that stuff at our Christmas supper. It's always, I think it's the night before on Christmas Eve on January 6th. It can't be any meat on the January 7th. We can't eat meat. But we have like mushroom soup. My Bubba makes mushroom soup. So I was in a very interesting predicament when I was a little kid because this whole Santa thing is just like, of course, you can't let the kid know that there's no Santa. And yet, here I am having a completely different holiday, and everybody else is talking about Santa, you know, on December 24th, you know, making his Christmas run. And I'm just like, oh, well, Mom, how does that work? And it's funny, you'd think that as a child I would be smart enough, you know, to realize, oh wait, no, Santa he's not real. No, apparently not, because I believed in Santa for a very long time, probably more than well, actually, no, I don't even care. I'm not even really gonna, you know, sit here and be like, oh, I found out Santa wasn't real when I was like 7 years old, you bunch of freaks. No, I probably believed in him up to like 11 or 12. Probably easily into the transition from elementary school to middle school. I'm not ashamed of that. I'm still not ashamed of that. Even if I believed in him to this day, I wouldn't be ashamed of that, because Santa's freaking awesome, and here's why. But, you know, okay, so before I get to that, basically, my mom would tell me, this would be the line of dialogue, she'd like, well, Santa makes 2 trips. He makes 1 trip on December 24th to most of the world, and he makes a special trip for people on January 6th who celebrate our Christmas. So that made me feel even more important. I'm like, oh, he makes a special trip. And, you know, so, you know, my teachers would always leave their Christmas trees up for me because I'd always be the odd egg in the classroom, you know, so... And I remember my 4th grade teacher did that, Mr. Diols. He actually brought me in, like, on my Christmas, right before the day before Christmas break, he would bring in donuts from Dunkin' Donuts for all the kids, and on January 6th, he gave me one, like, under the table, and he's just like, hey, Matt, here, Merry Christmas. I'm like, so, Mr. Diols, he was freaking awesome. So that was just the basic setup, but there was a couple years where I tried to do one-up on the old Saint Nick. I tried to catch him. I just saw the movie The Santa Claus with Tim Allen, and in that movie, it was shown that if you do not have a fireplace, Santa, like, converts any heating element you have in your room into a fireplace. Like, if you have, like, a little heating vent, you know, that heating vent will morph into, like, a giant, like, 10 by 10 fireplace so Santa can fit through it. So one Christmas, I went downstairs, and I took a piece of dental floss, and I strung it over the heating vent in my living room because we don't have a fireplace, and I'm thinking if it morphs into that big thing, and the dental floss will break. You know, going by that logic though, if he had the power to, you know, shift a room completely around and move and to create a fireplace out of nothing, he probably wouldn't be one up by dental floss. The dental floss would probably enlarge with it, you know. So yeah, let's see what else. There was one year where I must have been pretty young. I must have been about maybe 6 or 7, and I was in my bed one night, and it was maybe about, like, I went to bed at like 9, or I tried to go to bed, and I was like at 9:30. It was like a half an hour after I was in bed. I wasn't even asleep yet, and I had no door on my room back then. I didn't even have a curtain. It was just nothing, and I heard now that I know, I heard my mom and my dad running downstairs with a garbage bag full of Christmas presents they were hiding in their room to put under my tree. But I thought it was Santa, and I didn't move out of my bed. You know, you like that typical scene from like commercials and shit where, you know, the little girl gets up and goes downstairs and like, Santa, I knew you're real, and Santa like, you know, like tugs his hat, or he's just like saying, oh, get back to bed, little girl, or he turns around, he's a green ogre, and, you know, gives the girl a glass of water, and poots her bed back into sleep. So yeah, that's that. But no, I didn't do that. I was actually in my bed, and I'm pretty much just like, Santa? Oh, if I get up, he won't give me any presents. I gotta pretend to be asleep. So that's what I did. You know, so yeah, teching was not the smartest tack when I was a little kid, but hey, what can you do? It's the magic of Christmas, where any logic that I did have on this situation just got thrown out the window. And it was kind of that point of innocence that I really kind of miss. It's very nostalgic. Some of my favorite Christmas specials that I used to watch, probably the ones that I watched every year consistently, and I was going to make a separate video on this, but then I thought, you know, I did the holiday special instead, and that kind of took up most of my time. But the ones that I were going to include on that list were the SpongeBob Christmas Press special. That was awesome. These were ones when I was a little kid, of course. All of the Other Reindeer, which many of you might not have heard of, it's based on a storybook by the same name, but it's written, the television version was written and directed by Matt Groening, the creator of The Simpsons. I didn't find this out too much later, but I love All the Other Reindeer. That was just a great Christmas special. It has the animation's a little bit creepy if you look back on it now. For some reason, I thought it was like amazing when I watched it. It's like little cardboard paper cutouts of people like moving around. That's basically the animation style of this Christmas special. But for some reason, I just found it amazing as a kid. Like I would watch that like over and over again. And I just watched it a couple days ago just for nostalgia's sake, and I was a little bit creeped out by it. It was still pretty awesome, though. It has, oh, what was it? It has Dan Castellaneta in it, who voiced Homer, and a bunch of other Christmas characters. You know, the plot's about a dog who journeys to the North Pole to become one of Santa's reindeer, so it's a weird plot, but Matt Groening's behind it. It's awesome. Johnny Bravo Christmas special, which I loved Johnny Bravo when I was growing up, and they should bring him back, because he was hilarious. Love that guy. You know, so his Christmas special was pretty good. It just, the whole plot of it wasn't anything really that different. It was just like, oh, I forgot to send these letters to Santa, therefore we have to go all the way to North Pole to see Santa. And of course Johnny's like obsessed about, if none of you are familiar with Johnny Bravo, I guess he's a kind of an icon here in the United States, but basically he's just this big, you know, beefy guy that is obviously, he is the prime symbol of brawn over brains. Like, that is this character in a nutshell, if you wanted me to basically give, you know, cares more about his looks, cares more about, you know, anything except actually thinking things through. You know, he's a total, you know, womanizer, which he basically is a flagrant womanizer, and they put him out there. So yeah, that's, his character might not actually fly too much today, because I'm sure there would be some kind of feminist backlash against that character today, but back in the day, he was funny as shit.
Suck an egg.
So yeah, they had him. So his Christmas special was just basically like, you know, oh, I forgot to mail these letters to Santa, and of course he's like, at the beginning, he's just all like, oh, all I care about Christmas is getting free presents, and at the end of the special, he's like, wait, maybe there's something more to Christmas than just presents. So, you know, it's kind of a very basic Christmas special, but there's some one-liners thrown around in there that some of them I still use to this day. Like, there's one scene at the end. I don't know why I don't think this was intended to be funny. It was just something that always stuck in my mind. Ever since I saw it as a kid, I found it hilarious. So it's where, it's like a half-an-hour-long Christmas special, and at certain intervals throughout the entire special, Johnny is like eating Christmas cookies, because that's all everybody has is Christmas cookies, right? Because it's Christmas Eve, and he's going on this huge epic journey to the North Pole. Like, he has to, you know, gets on a plane and, you know, like a car, and it's like a trip adventure. And so he eats like 3 different plates of cookies, and he finally gets back home. And at the very end of the special, he gets back home and he says to his mom, he's like, "Hey, Mama, you got anything to eat? All I've had to eat today were cookies." And for some reason, I found that hilarious. You know, I still say that to this day. You know, if all I made gingerbread cookies the other day, and I didn't have, that's pretty much all I ate, because I had to go into work pretty early. And I get to work, and I say to my boss, you know, Jess, I'm like, Jess, do you have anything to eat? All I had to eat today was cookies. So, you know, that was, I don't know why, I just found that hilarious. The Johnny Bravo Christmas special.
Oh no! We're going to crash into that mountain! Nah, that's just a decoy. It's a cloaking device.
Family Guy Christmas special, and the one that just came out like not the one that came out like a week ago, the one that came out like 2 years ago, like the Christmas special where it's another Journey episode. I like Journey episodes that take, you know, characters and they journey to the North Pole, you know. So I don't know why, just because there's so many ways you can do that right and so many ways they can fuck it up, but I really like the ones that do it really good, and the Family Guy Christmas special is one that do it good. It's probably it's something that I would consider probably the last good thing that Family Guy has done that really genuinely has rewatch value for me, really genuinely, you know, makes me think I can watch it again and again and again. You know, there's not a lot of oh, Merry Christmas, Casey. There's not a lot of Family Guy episodes that I can watch now that I have a lot of rewatch value for. Like, I watched the last episode with Brian returning, and spoilers! And I'm like, oh, okay, that was an alright episode, but I'm not going to watch it again. It has no rewatch value for me. But that Christmas special is probably the last major one where Christmas, you know, it is a rewatch value there. Probably my favorite scene of it is when Brian and Stewie have to take on the role of Santa, which, again, is a very common thing. They even did that in one of the Johnny Bravo Christmas specials. And they have to take on the role of Santa, except it's Family Guy, so, you know, the only way you can really do that is having somebody really stupid or having somebody very violent that, of course, you know, you think, how many people are good at, like, the people that are good at the role of Santa? Probably Stewie Griffin is not very high up on the list because he's, like, basically a sociopath, essentially. So, you know, you have him in the role of Santa, and they end up basically invading this guy's home and killing the dad, and it was hilarious because that's how you can do it. And of course you can't show that shit on Cartoon Network. You can't show that shit on, you know, like a children's Christmas special. So Christmas special, Family Guy, really good. All right, well, I have rambled on long enough about this. It's been going on for a while, so I just hope you have a very Merry Christmas, have a very happy whatever you want to celebrate, whatever you have that's your little niche that you like have to do. Can't really think of any at the moment. Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, you know, those, of course, those are the common ones. But any other religion is good, just along with your family. You know, that's how it is. That's a transitive property of this time of the year. You know, most major religions at this time of the year have some kind of big major celebration, and we could just all get around being like, hey, your religion might be different from mine, but hey, it's this time of year, it's the dead of winter, let's just celebrate by having, like, warm, you know, festival, because that's basically what it came from. You know, Christmas came from a festival, essentially, celebrated by the pagans, and that evolved into what we have today in the dead of winter, because they're like, hey, let's have a festival, let's, you know, have a big feast, and let's exchange gifts, and that's basically where it all came from. So, and when it got adapted over to Christianity, but there's ever, you know, cultures, and even if it's a culture that doesn't necessarily celebrate Christmas or any kind of major, like, gift-giving celebration, kind of like Buddhism or Shintoism, they're still very open to other cultures as well. You know, I'm friends with a Buddhist. Well, I haven't talked to her in a couple of months, but I'm friends with a Buddhist. And you know, last Christmas, I don't think she gave presents out to anybody, being a Buddhist. But she was very open to it. You know, she attended a Christmas party with one of my other friends. So yeah, she was, you know, she was very open to this kind of stuff. So hope you enjoyed, everybody. Techie 101 signing out. Feliz Navidad.